Hello, welcome to my speech for Communications 110. Let me start with a quote. James Roosevelt, the son of Franklin Roosevelt, once said, "My father gave me these hints on speech making. Be sincere, be brief, be seated." So that's what I will do. What's in the bag, you ask? Well, let me show you. The contents of this bag contain 3 clues as to who I am. Let me share them with you. I, like you, am a 3-part person: spirit, soul, and body. And these 3 parts are represented in these objects. First, I have my Bible, which represents my spirit. Personally, I believe that God's ways are so much higher than our ways that we will be spending eternity learning about Him. And that's what we do. When we read the scriptures, we learn more about Him every day. That's my personal belief, and that's my goal for my life. I also personally believe that we'll be spending eternity mining out the treasures that are in this book. And so my personal take on that is, why not start now? That's how I approach the scriptures. Further, the scriptures also tell us that the disciples of Jesus were learners. They were lifelong learners, and that's what I intend to be as well. That's why I've decided to finish my degree at Regent after having suspended my education for nearly 20 years now. I began, my first college class was at the age of 30 in a little town called McPherson, Kansas. I later transferred to Friends University but never finished my degree, so that's why I'm here today. Also in this bag is a picture of my family, and they are the soul of who I am. They are the reason why I do what I do. My beautiful wife Linda is my closest friend, and she is the reason why I do so much of what I do as well. My family does come first for me. That's my soul, and that's who I am. My wife Linda and I will be celebrating 25 years of marriage this September, and we have 3 beautiful children. Hannah, who is 23, Mercy, she's 19, and Eddie Jr. is 15. Personally, I'm actually glad to be able to take second place to their needs because I love them so much, and that's why I put my education on hold, because I wanted to take care of my family and put them first. I have an example that I look to when I think of why my needs and my education needed to come second place to my family's needs, and that's obviously the life of Christ, who put our lives before His own. Also the life of Paul as well, who teaches us about sacrifice. And a key scripture for me that has been kind of a compass for my life has been Philippians 3:1 through 11, where it speaks of letting all things go and becoming more like Christ. And then lastly in this bag, I have a globe. This represents my physical body on this planet. And I make no apologies for the fact, actually, that in reality the earth is not my home, but it represents the sojourner in me, because I've been so many different places. And even though this earth is not my home, I do, and I have been blessed to see most of not only the U.S., but also been abroad. I was born in California. At 18, I moved to New Hampshire. After a brief time there, I moved back to California, only later to move to Oregon with some friends. I was there for a brief time and then moved back to California. After some time there, I was married to Linda, and we moved to Kansas. After 4 years in Kansas, we moved to North Carolina. And then after 5 years in North Carolina, we moved here to Arizona. I've also been to Chicago, and Mexico, and Canada, and London. So I've done my fair share of traveling. During that time, Psalm 67 really spoke to me in many ways. It says, "May the peoples praise you, O God, may all the peoples praise you." And through my travels, I've been able to see different people from different denominations praising the Lord. That's quite a good memory that I have. Okay, in conclusion, over the past few decades, I've had the privilege to meet and to worship and to work and to serve with believers from most of this country. From California to New Hampshire to Oregon, and from Kansas to North Carolina to Arizona and many parts in between. Even so, I've only briefly touched on a few of the people and experiences that make up who I am, and I am better for those experiences.